Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Rise and Shine, a channel dedicated to sharing knowledge on personal development through great books. This week, I want to share with you a truly precious book. Its title is The Heart: The Power to Create the Life You Want. This is the final masterpiece, a book that encapsulates over 80 years of business philosophy and human wisdom by Japan's business legend and master of life philosophy, Inamori Kazuo. For those who love reading, Inamori Kazuo is likely a familiar name. This legendary Japanese entrepreneur has left us with many invaluable books worth studying deeply, such as Living Philosophy, The Wisdom of Inamori Kazuo, Inamori's Business Philosophy, and The Challenge from Zero. But today, the first book from his collection that I've chosen to share is the final book of his life. This book was written when he was nearly 90 years old. Within just 1 year, it was translated into 15 languages and made it onto bestseller lists worldwide. In this book, Inamori Kazuo distilled his life experience into a single word: kokoro, heart, mind. With over 80 years of experience as a man who led a successful, fulfilling, and wise life, he taught us that everything begins with the heart and ends with the heart. Everything you encounter in life is drawn to you by the state of your own heart. If you can cultivate your heart, refine it, and elevate your mindset, you will achieve the life you desire. Now, I will share with you the key insights I have gathered from reading this book. Let's dive in. What is the foundation for lasting success? 1 point. Connecting with the heart of the universe. Connecting with the heart of the universe. Inamori Kazuo, born into an ordinary family, started his journey in life with nothing but his own 2 hands. At the age of 27, he founded Kyoto Ceramic Company Limited, now known as Kyocera. At 52, he established his second company, now called KDEI, one of Japan's largest telecommunications giants. Both of these companies grew to be included in the Fortune 500 list of the world's most powerful enterprises. Not stopping there, at the age of 78, he took on the role of chairman of Japan Airlines. Within just 1 year, he revived an airline on the verge of bankruptcy, bringing it to record-breaking profitability in its history. So, what was Inamori Kazuo's secret to success? It is truly incredible, but the remarkable achievements he created were not due to social status or wealth, nor the result of complex business strategies. Instead, his success stemmed from one profoundly simple belief: all success originates from a heart of altruism. What is an altruistic heart? Simply put, it is maintaining thoughts that prioritize others and acting with goodwill toward them. Having an altruistic heart means that you use the most compassionate, noble, and caring heart to connect with people. Actions driven by altruism always have a high probability of success, sometimes even yielding unexpected and extraordinary results. Inamori Kazuo pointed out that if you start your career with a heart that prioritizes the interests of others, everything will develop positively, and your destiny will be transformed. Before starting any task, Inamori Kazuo always asked himself whether it was an action driven by altruism. He believed that anything stemming from goodwill and a heart for others would always yield good results, without exception. A prime example is his acceptance of the invitation to become chairman and rebuild Japan Airlines, which originated from his altruistic heart. At that time, the airline was on the verge of bankruptcy. Initially, Inamori Kazuo refused many times due to his advanced age and lack of expertise in the aviation industry. However, upon further reflection, he realized that rebuilding Japan Airlines carried 3 significant meanings. First, it was for the stability of society and the reconstruction of Japan's economy. If Japan Airlines went bankrupt, it would have severe negative impacts on the economy. If successfully rebuilt, it could restore public confidence. Second, it was to protect the livelihoods of 32,000 employees. If the restructuring failed, tens of thousands of people would lose their jobs. Conversely, if successful, he could safeguard their livelihoods. Third, It was for the benefit of the nation's people. If Japan Airlines collapsed, Japan would be left with only one major airline, increasing the risk of higher ticket prices and declining service quality, ultimately harming the public. As Confucius once said, "To see what is right and not do it, it is a lack of courage." This was also the mindset of Inamori Kazuo, which gave him the courage and determination to take on the responsibility, despite facing much pessimism. Thanks to his altruistic heart, he vigorously promoted reforms, and within just 1 year, Japan Airlines recovered swiftly. At this point, you might think that this philosophy sounds overly familiar. Live for the benefit of others, but in reality, this is not easy to practice. If you find it difficult, try to understand the deeper reasoning behind his perspective, which can strengthen your belief in this philosophy. He believed that deep within every human being, there exists something called the soul, and even deeper, at the very core, lies the true self, the purest and most fundamental essence of a person. To reach this true self, we must live with an altruistic heart. You should understand that this true self is also the heart of the universe, the source of all creation. All religions believe that everything in existence shares a singular, ultimate reality, the heart of the universe. Though all things take different forms, appearing distinct from one another, we and all things are fundamentally one. Therefore, when you reach the true self deep within your soul, you also connect with the heart of the universe. At that moment, you touch the root of all things and discover the true meaning of life. In other words, when you have an altruistic heart, you resonate with the heart of the universe, a universe that inherently has the will to promote continuous evolution and development toward goodness and happiness. Thus, when we live with a noble heart, an altruistic mindset, we can align ourselves with the heart of the universe, making everything in life naturally unfold in a positive direction. Inamori Kazuo believed that those who understand this truth will grasp the meaning of human existence and the reason for our birth in this world. In reality, today's society has too many people who live only to satisfy personal desires, obsessively chasing material wealth with ambitions of status and power. But that is not the true purpose of life. Inamori Kazuo, a man who reached a position many admire, tells us that the purpose of life is to refine the heart and contribute to others. He did not say this because he had reached the peak and was satisfied with wealth and fame, but because from beginning to end, he always lived for others, and that is why he achieved everything. This is also the law of the universe. The more you give, the more you receive. When you know how to give and live altruistically, you will receive warmth, abundance, and greater success in your career. A heart of altruism may seem like stepping aside for others, but in reality, it is building a bridge for yourself. Giving a rose to others, the fragrance remains on your hand. The altruistic heart within you is the key to attracting blessings and prosperity in life. Keep cultivating a kind heart, live selflessly, and dedicate yourself to society. When you devote yourself to the well-being of others, you will ultimately discover the true value of your own life. Once you start, never give up. Of course, having a heart that cares for others alone is not enough. Inamori Kazuo believed that to achieve lasting success, one must have the determination to overcome difficulties and the passion to accomplish their goals at all costs. He called this the burning fighting spirit. Inamori Kazuo believed that there is only a small difference between successful people and those who are not. That difference lies in one simple idea. When facing unprecedented challenges, do you firmly believe that you can succeed or not? When Kyocera was first established, it was just a small factory. Over time, the company began to attract attention, both domestically and internationally, eventually making significant leaps forward. However, this journey was also marked by 3 years of hardship. The first challenge came when Kyocera received a large order from IBM. However, IBM required Kyocera's products to meet a quality standard 10 times higher than their current level. At that time, Kyocera did not have the necessary equipment to produce such high-quality products. Completing this order seemed like an impossible mission. Yet, when faced with such great difficulty, Inamori Kazuo was determined that no matter what, success was the only option. He believed that if they could fulfill this order, it would enhance their technical capabilities and elevate the company to a global level. From that day on, he lived and worked alongside the factory workers, personally overseeing every stage of production. At the end of each workday, Inamori Kazuo would see off each employee, thanking them for their hard work. Then he would return to his office and continue working until early morning. After 7 months of relentless struggle, the samples produced by Kyocera finally met the required standards after numerous trials. The factory then ramped up production 24 hours a day, delivering a large quantity within the specified deadline. This successful experience brought immense confidence and laid the foundation for Kyocera's remarkable growth in the future. From then on, Kyocera continued to launch new products through constant research and development, and all of the company's projects achieved success. Someone once asked Inamori Kazuo, "How do you achieve success time and time again?" He simply replied with one sentence: "Never give up." Next, let's explore the 3 foundations for building a happy life, as pointed out by Inamori Kazuo in his book, are gratitude, humility, and diligence. First and foremost, no matter when or what happens, whether good or bad, we must always be grateful. No matter how well things are going in our lives, these good things will not last forever. He also advises us that we should not let ourselves be consumed by victory and comfort to the point of forgetting to express gratitude to those who have helped us. Being grateful for receiving help is something many people understand, but being grateful even when facing adversity and difficulties is something not everyone can do. For Inamori Kazuo, harsh circumstances are opportunities to train the mind and soul. Moreover, being grateful even in the face of disaster can help eliminate negative karma. On this point, Inamori Kazuo shared the following story. He once faced a setback in the course of developing his career, and it was his life mentor, Master Nishikata Tansetsu, who gave him invaluable teachings. After founding Kyocera, his company developed a prosthetic knee joint. Doctors confirmed that Kyocera's prosthetic knees were problem-free and urged the company to release them to the market as soon as possible. Under pressure from the medical community, Kyocera began production without obtaining official approval. As a result, major newspapers and magazines reported on the issue, accusing Kyocera of selling prosthetic knee joints for profit without the Ministry of Health's approval. This incident caused a public outcry. Both Kyocera and Inamori Kazuo himself faced severe criticism. After this incident, he did not offer any excuses but instead took full responsibility and apologized continuously. However, as the situation dragged on, both his physical and mental health suffered greatly. So, he went to a temple to seek advice from his mentor. The two sat facing each other. The master calmly made tea as usual, carefully listening to the whole story before saying to Inamori Kazuo, "This is good. When misfortune strikes, it is also the time when past karma is erased. Enduring this will help eliminate negative karma and cleanse the mistakes you have made in the past. This should be celebrated." Here we can briefly explain the term karma mentioned by the master. In Buddhism, this refers to all human actions, words, thoughts, and activities. Karma is divided into good karma, bad karma, and neutral karma. Simply put, there are 3 types of karma: good, bad, and neutral. Returning to Inamori Kazuo's story, after hearing the master's words, he suddenly had an awakening. He accepted the criticism and blame as a form of repentance, and only the most sincere repentance can cleanse one's karma. Human beings cannot live without experiencing suffering. In such times, we must not become discouraged or fall into despair, because, as the master said, When failure and hardship come, it is also the time when past karma is being erased. So why not welcome it with joy? Be grateful even for the bad and difficult things, and you will naturally take another step forward. This is the secret of secrets, enabling you to overcome the hardships of life. Besides gratitude, the second foundation for building a happy life is humility. Inamori Kazuo said, "Humility is a protective charm. With a humble heart, you can keep misfortune at bay." This is like having a protective shield in life. People are easily consumed by arrogance. When their careers go smoothly, when they are slightly better than others, and when they receive praise, their mindset can become unstable. It can soar like a kite out of control. If we allow ourselves to continue like this, we may unknowingly become arrogant, conceited, and domineering. Our lives will inevitably stray from the right path. In his book, Inamori Kazuo tells us that nothing we have truly belongs to us. For example, our bodies, thoughts, emotions, money, status, abilities, and reputation. In reality, all of these are granted to us. Therefore, if we think all of this success is because of me, it is an unfounded belief. If we recognize this and constantly remind ourselves in both life and work, arrogance will disappear, and our hearts will be filled with humility and gratitude. Finally, the third foundation for building a happy life is diligence. After understanding that we need to live and work with a selfless heart, thinking of others, always being grateful and humble, when facing difficulties, we must fight with an unyielding spirit. The crucial factor that remains for walking firmly on this journey and achieving a happy life and lasting success is diligence. Carry this mindset and philosophy with you. Stay hardworking and diligent, and you will soon achieve what you desire. These are the solid secrets to success and the foundations for a happy life. This book contains many more profound philosophies by Inamori Kazuo. I highly encourage you to read the entire book and draw your own lessons from it. At the end of the book is a deep realization that I believe is also the core philosophy running throughout the book, the very message that Inamori Kazuo. Your magnetic field determines your own destiny. Your magnetic field determines your destiny. Mr. Inamori Kazuo believes that everything that happens in life is attracted and shaped by our own minds. In his book, he wrote that all misfortunes in life have no other reason. They are all drawn in by our own minds. The mind continuously generates misfortune and complaints. That is what misfortune truly is. Complaining is a poison, and the more you complain, the worse your situation will become. When you stop transmitting negative energy and adjust your mindset, you will be able to find a ray of light even within the fog. In life, many of us tend to complain whenever we face difficulties or encounter anything unpleasant. As a result, the more you fear something, the more likely you are to encounter it. The more you avoid something, the more you will run straight into it. Just like an artist once said, people are easily hypnotized by their own words, and the complaints you constantly repeat will shape your life. You must remember one thing: the people and things you dislike are all attracted by yourself. When you try to change your mindset and break free from negative energy, good fortune will shine in your life. So how can you escape negative energy? Live within a positive magnetic field. Inamori Kazuo is known as the man who carries the sun because no matter what happens, he always wears a radiant smile. He believes that as long as you maintain a positive and optimistic attitude, even the worst situations can turn out smoothly. When Inamori Kazuo was young, both of his grandfathers and one grandmother died of tuberculosis, to the point that his family was called the tuberculosis family. Because of this, he constantly worried that he would also die from this disease. And indeed, what you fear will come true. He eventually contracted tuberculosis. With a weak body and a depressed spirit, he failed in everything he attempted. At this time, a neighbor gave him a book titled The Truth of Life. In it, he read, "Inside every person is a magnet that attracts what they think about. Every hardship and disaster comes because of the existence of a mind that draws them in. Nothing happens to us unless we invite it ourselves." Suddenly, his heart became clear. he no longer felt discouraged every day. He started studying hard and doing his best to prepare for the entrance exam, which he had already failed twice before. Later, a bombing incident occurred in his area. Many people, afraid of being shot, panicked and fled. But Inamorikazuo remained fearless. He voluntarily stayed behind to help the sick and weak escape. And because of this, a miracle happened. After the war, his tuberculosis miraculously healed on its own, and he also successfully passed his exams. As he wrote in his book, the power of the heart can create all kinds of unbelievable phenomena. This is also the well-known law of the magnetic field. Although we cannot see the magnetic field around us with the naked eye, it silently influences each person's life. If you are pessimistic about the world and believe everything is terrible, you will ultimately become unlucky and fall into despair. On the other hand, optimistic people can remain calm in the face of change. Even in dangerous situations, they can focus on identifying the root cause of the problem and eventually turn things around. You must understand that all good fortune is not found through searching, but rather attracted by a positive and optimistic heart. When you keep smiling, life will respond with the greatest kindness. Inamorikazuo wrote the following in the final lines of his book: "Everything in life begins in the mind and ends in the mind." His life went through many ups and downs, from war to serious illness, from poverty to business crises. But no hardship or difficulty could defeat him because he always held a righteous mindset. He never feared, never complained, and always persevered, achieving great success, helping others, and living happily with profound wisdom. For both businesses and individuals, beyond having a smart strategy, a development plan, or advanced technology, cultivating the mind is the fundamental root. May we all remember the teachings of the philosophical master Inamorikazuo. Please remember that everything that happens in life is merely a reflection of your own mind. Whether good or bad, always be grateful. To be grateful, you must be humble. To reach the truth of the universe, you must be diligent and hardworking. The secret to lasting success is to have a selfless heart and do everything for the benefit of others. When you feel like you can't go on, that is exactly when you must begin. No matter what, fight to the end and never give up. And in the end, everything begins in the mind and also ends in the mind. That's it for today's video. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please like and share it with those who may need it. Support me with a like, follow, and turn on notifications to stay updated with my latest videos. Once again, thank you and see you in the next content.